Saying no. Niggas know how I'm bumming, nigga. Yeah. Fuck what a nigga say, I feel like Dre. Man, the game is sick. Suckers wanna play and load my K until that bitch click. Big stick, hanging out the bottom of my 4-5. No lie, if I whip it out, somebody gon' die. Only time you hard is on the gram when you go live. Flexing with a tube but never blam, I'ma blow mine. Won't show mine until it's go time. Nah, you can't hold mine. Yeah, I got the whole mine, I'm on the goal line. And I'm going for 6, watch me up the scope. Caught him at the stove, he was with his hoe. Had to let him know, that's your ass, you don't get it past. You reap what you sow. Why you speaking low? Speak up, boy, you been a hoe. Boy, you been a bitch, get off dick, tryna steal my drip. Look up in the air, you see me, I'm fly as bird shit. Never on no nerd shit, why you on that lame shit? You don't want no smoke, you get smoke with who you hang with. You know what I'm saying? Lame ass niggas talking about they in some gang shit. Nigga, you's a bitch, nigga. Matter of fact, nigga, you's a hoe. Nah, you ain't no hoe, cause hoes get dope. Man, that pussy ass a cat.
We fucking live, my niggas.
Tell him free to act. Dealing for your rat, you know he told how you sleep.
Heart2Start Fantasy Podcast, man, coming at y'all with a quick rundown of some week 2 starts and sits, man. You know, I get a lot of questions, a lot of text messages from some of the homies, some of the family, man, that, ask me, what's that advice? And, you know, what I say is, hey, you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. If you're asking on Sunday morning, you might be in trouble. But just in case you is in trouble, let me give y'all a quick rundown, man. And don't forget, y'all go check on the weekend wrap-up. We'll be starting here this morning in a little... Every week, every Sunday, JD Wax Works, giving it to you live and direct, man. Let's start it off quick, man, because it's a rundown. It's 8:51 in the morning. Y'all know them Heart2Starts is when you don't know who to play. Do you got the heart to start some of these studs? Do you got the heart to sit some of these bums or some of these names that you drafted high and you still thinking about draft capital? It's week 2 right now. Draft capital should be out the window. It should be about who's producing, nothing more, nothing less. Let's start with some of these inactives. You got Christian Watson ruled out. Aaron Jones ruled out. Brandon Cooks should be ruled out pretty soon, if not later. Austin Eckler ruled out. Some of the actives that we know, Mark Andrews, Travis Kelce, D-Hop. You know, we know D-Hop. He don't practice. He going to play on Sunday. And Jerry Jeudy will be back in the lineup. I'm going to throw these rankings at the bottom so y'all can see my rankings through the top. And let's run through some of the QB sits that I have this week. Deshaun Watson is my first one on the list. You know, Monday night, you know, not knowing what's going on with Amari Cooper, not knowing what's going on with, some of their line issues. I expect their defense and their run game to carry this game. Steelers, you know, haven't been the best. It was versus the 49ers last week, so I'm not just going to write them off, but losing Deontay Johnson, not knowing what they're going to do at running back. You know, they are at home. This is a division game. They're going to come to play, especially after last week. So I'm going to stay away from Deshaun Watson specifically also because Amari Cooper is out or possibly out. He's questionable with an injury that he got late in the week. Hold on, let's see. We got a couple comments. Top of it, man. JD in the building, man. Heart2Start family. You already know. Sir Bongs a lot. I see you, man. Always a reputable, man. Appreciate you tapping in all the time. So my next person is Dak Prescott. That Jets defense, nasty. Front line, nasty. Cowboys, last week they didn't need him. They was whooping on them. But I look for, Brandon Cooks sitting out possibly. Pollard looking good. It's going to be a grinded out game. I see the Jets trying to control that game with their defense. Obviously lost Aaron Rodgers, running the ball a lot. It's going to be hard to pass. And this might be a game where Cowboys D do exactly what they did last week versus the Giants. Stay away from Dak. They might not need him. That's all I'm going to say. Jordan Love is my second one. He was a top 3 fantasy scorer last week. I'm not messing with Jordan Love last week. Aaron Jones ruled out. Aaron Jones had 2 long touchdown catches. That was at one point he had half of Jordan Love's yards. Christian Watson ruled out again. Versus Atlanta, a team that's going to run a lot and try to control the game. The secondary on Green Bay is going to keep them in it. This might be a game where, Atlanta might fall behind quick or they may not need Jordan Love. It's going to be more of a game manager type game this week. And I'm not messing with Jordan Love. I see a lot of people streaming. This could be more of a DFS play because I don't see a lot of people starting Sam Howell this early, but I see a lot of people talking about Howell as their daily fantasy plays. Don't do it. Don't do it. Denver defense is stingy. Those wide Terry McLaurin is going to be probably shadowed by Surtain. Broncos are actually projected to be one of the highest scoring defenses this week. Another one, Geno Smith. A lot of people went off of Geno Smith's top 6 quarterback finish last year. Not going to happen this year. They already got 2 starters on the line banged up. Over under on the Detroit-Seattle game is about 47. That might be more Detroit points than Seattle. A lot of people pick Seattle to possibly win this division. I don't see it. I'm sitting Geno. Let's jump to the running back starting sits. So my sits this week is going to be Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon, dud last week. We'll call it an outlier. Burrow had a dud. Higgins had a dud. Chase had a dud. But I'm looking for the Bengals to bounce back this week in the passing game. Baltimore got a lot of banged up DBs, people sitting out. Joe Burrow, $279 million man. They're going to bank on his arm this week in a division game. Joe Mixon is a safe play. I can see him getting about 12 points, maybe catching one to score, maybe getting to the red zone and scoring off Joe Burrow's arm. He might be a safe 12 points, but as far as boom, I might sit Joe Mixon for players like a Joshua Kelly or maybe even an A.J. Dillon. That sounds crazy, but you got to do it, man. You got to have the heart to start. Najee Harris, sit. If you drafted him in the 3rd and 4th round, you're sick right now. Don't bank on it. Until he shows me something or that offense shows me something, I ain't messing with him. And he's splitting touches with Jaylen Warren. Stay away from Najee Harris. Dalvin Cook. I seen a tweet said Dalvin Cook looked cooked. He didn't look spry, but guess who did? Breece Hall. I think it's going to be bad for the Jets this week, but even if it is, it will be on a run game, but it won't good. It will be on a run game, but it won't be Dalvin Cook. 50%, a lot of people drafted Dalvin Cook hoping that he was going to, fill in for Breece Hall coming off that ACL and playing more at the beginning of the year, and then it was going to be Breece taking over. Not this game versus the Cowboys. It's a wrap. Sit Dalvin Cook. Isaiah Pacheco. This is one of those steady Eddie guys. I always say Pacheco is a 9 to 12 point guy. With CEH being out, he will get the bulk of the carries, but then playing Jacksonville, I'm anticipating a shootout. I'll talk about one of my sleepers later is Jerick McKinnon. Now, I'm not saying bench Pacheco if you drafted him high, but if you got players like Kelly or Dillon that you could throw in that you got off the wire, well, not Dillon off the wire, but Kelly off the wire, even though they play a tough Tennessee defense, I'd rather start a player like Kelly with upside over Pacheco. My other sits, Kyron Williams and Akers. Sit. Can't do it. You don't know what's going on. Most importantly, they're playing the Niners. Enough said. Khalil Herbert. I'm worried about Khalil Herbert. Chicago didn't have a good game last week, and Fields didn't have a good game last week. And part of it is they ran less with Fields than they did with success last year towards the end of the year. I look for them to get back to running more with Fields. And there's also reports coming out that Deontay Foreman will be a healthy scratch, and Roschon is expected to get more touches. So Roschon being a better pass blocker, Roschon possibly being more explosive, watch out. Khalil Herbert is a sit for me. Miles Sanders, this might be more of a bold statement, being that he is a starting running back on that team. I'm not really sold on Miles Sanders last week. He had a solid 11-something points, but against a stingy Saints D, I look for them just to get obliterated. But again, it is a division game, but I have Miles Sanders on one of my sits. Now, must starts, Dameon Pierce. People drafted him expecting him to be a workhorse. I mean, come on, he played Baltimore last week. You knew it was going to be a tough matchup no matter what. Fire update, Dameon Pierce, whether it's in daily fantasy, wherever you have him, chances are you have him starting anyway. You drafted him to start, so don't feel anything about Dameon Pierce. He's going to go crazy this week versus the Indianapolis Colts, another division game. Jamal Williams, volume is king. He had volume last week, didn't do much, but again, they played a tough Tennessee defense, which is stingy with the run. This week, you got the Panthers. Fire up Jamal Williams. I look for Carr to be firing on all cylinders. They look good. He had 300 plus yards, only one touchdown. They will be in the red zone a lot this game. Fire them up. Two other players on there, A.J. Dillon, Joshua Kelly. Volume. I don't like Kelly versus Tennessee's run D, but again, no Eckler. He's going to catch some passes out there, and I do see the Chargers getting to that red zone and him maybe punching one in. He is a safe 12 to something points. We got a question right quick. Deshaun Watson or Jordan Love? Man, that's tough. Look, I just talked about how I was scared of Jordan Love, but I also have Deshaun Watson as both on my bench is not playing this week. If I had to go with one or the other, I'd go with Deshaun Watson just because I do believe Chubb and that run game is going to get him down to that red zone more than not on Monday night. So I'd go with Deshaun Watson possibly running one in and having a little better game than Jordan Love versus Atlanta Falcons. Let me know who else you got up there that you might have action that's starting off the wire. Let's get back to it. Again, A.J. Dillon. These are my 3 volume plays. 4, actually. A.J. Dillon, Kelly, Rashard White, Javonte Williams. Javonte, better matchup this week. You know, he had a good workload last week. Kareem paid a lot as well. But Broncos going against a tough secondary in Washington and a decent front line. I like Javonte Williams to be able to, you know, if Denver's going to win, it's not going to be with Sutton, Judy, and Russell. It's going to be with their run game and their defense, how Peyton likes to play. So as far as Rashad White, volume is king. 4 players right there. To me, that are must starts. A.J. Dillon, Joshua Kelly, Rashad White, Javonte Williams. Now, I got some sleeper starts if y'all play daily fantasy. Jerick McKinnon, shootout versus Jacksonville. Again, I said CEH ain't playing. Pacheco going to handle the run game. We know the receivers look banged up. They get Kelsey back. I see Jerick McKinnon breaking off some big runs today. Another one I mentioned, Roschon Johnson. Going to get more tick this week. Devontae Foreman sitting out. If you're in daily fantasy, I'm not saying start Roschon in your regular leagues, in your redraft leagues, 12-manner. But if you're in a 14 league or you're in a, you got some thin spots, you got some injuries at running back, you need to play him. Throw them in there. Daily fantasy, I'm throwing them in there. Got another question. Jay Reed, Sky Moore, Tutu, Kendrick Bourne. I'm leaning towards Bourne. I go Bourne. Jay Reed is one of my sleepers, too, for fantasy. We don't know what's going on with the Chiefs secondary. The Chiefs wide receivers. Tutu Atwell, I need to see more. Kendrick Bourne is the wide receiver, and they're playing Miami. Shootout, for sure. Maybe, but I'd lean towards a shootout in that game. Zach Moss, another one, sleeper starts, volume. That's strictly a volume play versus Houston division foe. Their other running backs look bad. Jackson had 2 fumbles, Hole on the IR. I'll fire up my boy. Pacheco or Brian Robinson? Tough one right there. Denver D is a little stingy. Brian Robinson, to me, is a plotter. About 19 carries. I say he likes to go nowhere fast. His fantasy day got saved on a touchdown. So if I'm going safe, 9 to 12 points, give me Pacheco. Let's see what we got next. All right, let's go with wide receiver must starts. My boy Zay Flowers, man. $7 million signing bonus, first-round draft pick. They call him Joystick, man. Lamar Jackson gave him that name. It's for a reason. That boy can ball. If you look at them highlights, he makes players miss. He's the type of player that you don't need him to catch a deep ball or need him to catch a whole bunch of targets. You just need to get it in his hand and let him go to work. Give me Zay Flowers all day. And I'm starting him over like a George Pickens, right? So, Zay Flowers, man, run him just like him and Addison. Me and JD talked about it on the show the other day. Zay and Addison are here to stay, man. Fire them up. Another 2 players, Mike Evans and Godwin. You drafted them to start most likely. Baker, he wasn't too bad. Didn't look too bad. But, against a Bears defense that was last in the league and just let Dobbs and Musgraves and the whole Packers wide receiver core chew them apart. Aaron Jones catch some, go. Give me Mike Evans and Godwin this week, both as potential top 15 plays. Deebo Samuel. I think if you got Deebo, you're starting him anyway. But some people may get cute. You only got 10 points. You see Ayuk went crazy last week. Don't worry. This team, Rams, play a lot of zone. Debo's notorious for eating up the zone. He had crazy target share last week. He's in the game. They're going to make a chance to get him the ball. Look for Debo to surpass 17 to 20 plus points today. Nico Collins, another one. Must start for me. 11 targets last week. Robert Woods, still old cat. You know what I'm saying? The Colts secondary is a whole bunch of who? Who are they? You know, got 8 up last week. I don't believe anything in the Colts secondary. Anything. Fire up Nico Collins, 11 targets last week. He'll get at least 8 to 9 targets this week. They got Noah Brown that went out, who was having some rapport with the court with CJ Stroud. Division game, you know, I like the Colts offense to put up some points, and I like the Texans to be able to be right there with them. I look at this as one of the sleeper high-scoring games. Fire up Nico Collins. Another one, I talked about Jahan Dotson. I talked about how Surtain might be shadowing Terry McLaurin. Fire up Jahan Dotson, man. He's going to get the second best cornerback on that team. They're going to have to pass the ball at some point. Disappointing week last week, but don't worry about that. Fire up Jahan. Another one, Romeo Doubs. You know, the touchdown saved him last week to give him a game. He came into the week a little banged up, but if they're going to beat Atlanta, it's probably not going to be on the ground with A.J. Dillon, who only averaged 1.3 yards per carry last week. Fire up Romeo Doubs. Wide receiver sits. Amari Cooper, you can't wait till Monday. Don't wait till Monday. He got a re-aggravated a groin injury. Hold on, guy. Okay, get out of here. It's my twins, man. They ready for football right now. Amari Cooper, you cannot wait till Monday. He re-aggravated his injury on Friday. Even if he plays, I'm worried about playing him. Sit Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore. Even if you can't afford to sit Amari Cooper, at least have a backup. You probably don't got Amari and Elijah Moore, but Donovan Peoples-Jones is on the waiver wire. Go ahead and tuck him. And if Amari Cooper sits, had a heart to start to play. Amari had a heart to start to play. Peoples-Jones or some of these other people that I have on this list. Tyler Lockett, sit. I don't believe. Banged up last week. Again, their O-line is hurt. You know, Detroit's pass rush was looking good last week, man. I'm scared. Detroit is a sleeper DFS defense that you could play right now. Tyler Lockett, until I see Geno, you know, he only passed the ball like 22 times last week. I don't want that volume from my receivers. Sit Tyler Lockett. D-Hop. It's hard to say this, but Tannehill don't really look that good. I'm not messing with D-Hop. I mean, it could be a shootout. We'll see. You know, Chargers are going to have to air raid this week with no Eckler and the Titans run D being crazy. So that will be the only thing that would make me want to start D-Hop. Again, you're not worrying about the injuries, but I worry about this more being a Derrick Henry day and a Vrabel type game where they're trying to ground and pound and wear them out and control the game. I'm benching D-Hop this week. Let's see if we got another question. Man, with Cooper being out, I'm leading Jordan Love now over D. Watson. Again, you know, Jordan Love, I'm worried about how Aaron Jones was a lot of his passing yards last week. Now, again, that was his first real NFL start as being a for sure guy, even though he started last year. So, honestly, you might want to flip a coin, man. Jordan Love and D. Watson, man. Hey, you got to have the heart to start to pick the right one. Go with your heart. You know, I can say what I say, but at the end of the day, you still got to go with yours. So, you know. Hey, make your next move your best move, like a chess move, like we say. George Pickens, sit. He came in banged up this week in practice. They say he don't even run all his routes hard. You know what I'm saying? That's the talk, right? I don't want anything to do with this passing game right here. I need to see Pickett play a little better. I'm benching George Pickens for Elijah Moore, Zay Flowers type people. Drake London. I mean, what more can I say? Jair Alexander. You know, Green Bay's pass D, immaculate. If they're going to beat Green Bay this week, it's going to be on the ground, and they're not going to need Drake London. Now, I ain't saying completely lean out of him, but you got to sit him. You can't. This ain't the week for him to bounce back. Don't give up on him, but this not the week. Wood said Deontay Johnson hurt though. I feel you, but that don't make me feel good about Pickens. If I had a sleeper DFS play, and I had to start based a Steelers wide receiver based on Deontay Johnson being hurt, it's not going to be Pickens. I might go get Calvin Austin. I mentioned him on the wire list. Big playability, came in with 6 targets as soon as he came in and Deontay was hurt. Maybe Allen Robinson, who JD loved. Anybody but Pickens to me. Let's see. Wide receiver sleepers. I mentioned Peoples Jones and Elijah Moore. Tank Dell, one of my big sleepers right there. Again, Noah Brown out. Tank Dell, they're going to unleash him today. I have him in a lot of daily fantasy lineups. Tank Dell and Nico Collins, you can start. Now, do you got the heart to start him over a player like Amari? Not right now with Monday not being here. But, Tank Dell is somebody who you might want to stash. In the league I had Aaron Jones ruled out. I put him on the IR. I went and grabbed Tank Dell just to see if he gets off today. If he don't do nothing, I might drop him mid-game, as soon as the end of the game. But Tank Dell is a sleeper for me this week. Hayden Hurst or Hunter Henry. I like Hurst to bounce, to do his thing, maybe versus the Saints and him being a steady pass catcher. But that Saints D is stingy, and I'm scared for the Panthers. I'm gonna go with Hunter Henry, being that Miami game might be a shootout, and he looks like a good target for. And I have him in my top. If you look at my top rankings for tight ends, that's going across the screen right now. He's up there. Hey, go Hunter Henry. Jaden Reed. Hey, look, slot man in Green Bay. Again, I mentioned if they're gonna beat Atlanta, it's gonna be through the air. Fire up some Jaden Reed and DFS play. Some of these sleepers are more, not saying start them over studs, right? But, these are players that you should be stashing if they're still on the wire after this week, and just tuck them to see what they do. I like Jaden Reed over there. And I mean, again, my boy had the question about Love. I mentioned Jaden Reed. I mentioned Dobbs. I'm going to mention Musgrave. So you know what? You might be onto something. Go ahead and stick him in there. Go ahead and stick with Jordan Love. Who should I start? Waddle, D-Hop, or Mike Evans? You got to go Waddle no matter what. Even though I think Mike Evans is going to have a good one, you got to go Waddle. He was a top 10 wide receiver last year. Hey, start your studs is what we like to say. Is that Wiz right there, man? Rodney White, man? Let me know if that's you, Wiz. Shout out to Wiz, man. Where we got? Okay, Rashid Shaheed, man. Listen. Rashid Shaheed, you might be looking, was it a fluke? Did they just play him? Blah, blah, blah. No, they're being intentional about getting him the ball. Start Rashid Shaheed. Now, I'll start Rashid Shaheed over Pickens confidently right now. Right now. No lie. Wiz, that's you, man. There we go, man. Chirac legend right there, man. Hey, Rashid Shaheed, they're making a point to get him the ball. Yeah, they got Mike Thomas. Yeah, we know Olave's the guy. Look for Olave to have a big week this week. But keep watching the usage of Shaheed. He ended the year good last year. He didn't have a lot of offseason buzz because he was banged up going into the first week. Come on, run it. Hey, Raider Rock, man. Is that E-Rock right there? Don't be afraid, man. Shoot all the ones you got. Dak or Anthony Richardson. Run me Anthony Richardson. He's in my top 6 rankings. I got him at number 7. Dak ain't even in my top 12 this week because I think the Cowboys won't need him. Go with A-Rod. A-Rich, man. Go with A-Rich. Another player, Rashee Rice. 11 points last week. He looked like the best wide receiver other than Kelsey. Rookie. Hey, stash Rashee Rice. I'm not saying start him this week. DFS play, I'll start him. I'll throw him in there. Stash Rashee Rice. Same thing go with Josh Downs. 2 rookies, man. Josh Downs looked electric when he got the ball last week with Richardson. Pittman is the guy over there, we know. But look for those rookies, man. These rookies become these league winners at the end of the year that you got to be stashing and having them tucked. Let's jump into tight ends, man. Must starts, obviously, Kelsey. You're starting Andrews no matter what. Sam Laporta. That's my guy, y'all. I've been on him in Dynasty. I got him a lot of Dynasty leagues. The thing I love the most about him is that he plays damn near the whole game. That boy was blocking last week. He was catching and running. He only had 8 points, but the sky is the limit. We say we don't really trust rookie tight ends, but guess what? Opportunity is a key. And he went to that Iowa like my boy Kittle. You know what I'm saying? We know they produce those games similar to Kittle. Laporta is in my top tight end rankings this week. Fire up Laporta. If I got Laporta and a Mark Andrews, I might be looking to ship Mark Andrews for a weak spot, whether it's running back, wide receiver, tuck him on the side, play with Laporta, man. Shout out to my boy Huey. I know he playing Laporta every week. He just texted me right now. We might be brewing a trade. Nope, he's playing. No trade going. Hey, Sam Laporta, y'all. Tuck him. Same with Hunter Henry. JD was big on Hunter Henry. I got him in my top rankings this week. A lot of these tight ends are touchdown dependent, but you look at the opportunity. Laporta and Hunter Henry are going to play. Yeah, they might get Gesicki a little bit more involved as they go. But come on, man. Bill O'Brien, he's going to use those tight ends, man. Go Hunter Henry. Another one. Look, we got 2 rookies in here. Luke Musgrave. They ran and raved about him. They love him. He stayed on the field. His ADOT was crazy. Yeah, he caught a deep one, but the skill is there. He's one of the fastest tight ends in the league. Rookie's gonna stay on the field again. I keep mentioning it. Hey, my boy Raider, you asked about Jordan Love. I'm leaning towards Jordan Love now. I'm thinking now, like, you know what? I'm tripping. I'm going Jordan Love over Watson. You got them. Musgrave is a weapon for, and without Aaron Jones being there this week, I like for Musgrave to have more opportunities. Njoku, we talk about Amari Cooper being out. Tight end, that's gonna help you. Njoku gonna be right there for the pickings. Don't be scared of playing, man. Fire up. I mean, you playing Njoku anyway. He was a top 10 tight end last year. Fire him up. He's gonna be one of the top ones this week. Evan Ingram, shootout Kansas City. There you go. Play that Jordan Love. Shootout in Kansas City. You got to go Evan Ingram. He had more targets than Christian Kirk. I look for Christian Kirk to bounce back this week, but you know that passing game, it's going to be a shootout. That's going to be one of my favorite games to watch this morning. Tight end sits. Dalton Schultz. Again, I talked about Tank Dell, Nico Collins. I'm sitting Dalton Schultz, even though he might be a steady target. He might be a guy that can get you like around that 7 to 8 points, which is pretty good for a tight end right now. It sucks if you don't got the top ones, but fuck it. Come on. Hayden Hurst. Again, somebody just mentioned him. He might be a solid play over there. You know, rookies, Bryce Young's maybe safety blanket. Their wide receivers I'm not too really fond about them. Again, that Saints D is nasty. I probably said Hayden Hurst, but he might be a safe one. Kyle Pitts. I'm not trusting this pass game until I see it. If they're going to be Green Bay, it's going to be on the ground. Same thing with Pat Freiermuth. He got banged up. He got a touchdown last week, so he gave you 8 points. But I'm sitting Pat Freiermuth this week. Thanks for the advice. We playing a Heart2Start Dynasty this week. Okay, let's go. I just gave you some games. So now, since we play each other, E-Rock, when I beat you, I'm going to say I helped you still lose to me, even though the guys I told you to play went off, man. That's what I'm talking about, man. This shit get deep, man. We play for keeps in this fantasy shit, man. Tight end sleepers this week. Cole Kmet. I say they're going to look to run more with Fields. I do think they'll get DJ Moore involved, but Cole Kmet, this is going to be one of them sneaky weeks where he goes off. Again, are you playing them versus the Buccaneers D? Now, JD made a great point. Buccaneers D got everybody playing from that Super Bowl Buccaneers D on the D, right? But Cole Kmet is going to be a sneaky play this week. Same with Dalton Kincaid, man. You look for those players that are playing no matter what. Dalton Kincaid, they love the 12 personnel. They love having 2 tight ends. And even when not, I look for Kincaid this week versus the lowly Raiders. Kincaid is one of my sleeper tight ends for sure. Let me give y'all some little streaming. Tampa Bay, I just mentioned about their defense. Don't be afraid to fire Tampa Bay up versus those Bears, right? Good run D, good linebacker core. Sneaky team, man. They put on last week, beat them, what's the name, went 1-0. We counted them out. Don't sleep on the Buccaneers and what's his name's defensive prowess as a head coach. Detroit Lions, another sneaky defense. I mentioned that Seattle has no offensive lineman playing. 2 of their starters are out. Lions D looked good. Fire Lions D up versus Seahawks. Another one, Washington Commanders. Yeah, I like the Broncos defense versus them, but the Commanders look good too. You know, don't sleep on the Commanders defense. You know, I really don't believe in Russell. They O-line ain't the best. It's going to be a ground and pound type game, but look for the Commanders to possibly get some turnovers. Now, before we get off this show, man, we just gave y'all a little 30-minute, you know what I'm saying? I want to run through my rankings right quick. I got Mahomes quarterback number 1, obviously. Josh Allen number 2. I got Trevor Lawrence at number 3 in that shootout versus Mahomes. Justin Herbert, I think they're going to have to pass a little more versus that Tennessee team. With Eckler being out, Herbert 4. Lamar Jackson with the bounce back at 5 versus Cincinnati. I look for him he's a safe quarterback, even though he had 3. Lamar's a competitor. He ain't going out like that. Tua, number 6. He was a number 1 last week. I'm going to put him at number 6 with New England being good at neutralizing their division foes, right? Number 7, Anthony Richardson. I got Burrow at 8, which Burrow could be right there with Lamar. He might sneak into the top 5. I say the pass game is going to be better this week with Baltimore, so he could easily be in my top 5. I got Goff at number 9. Steady Eddie, what I call him, offense that I see Gibbs being involved more. That's going to help Goff, right? St. Brown, that secondary they playing against. I look for Goff to be one of those sleepers. Give me Justin Fields at 10, running the ball a little bit more, and I got Danny Dimes. We laugh at him. They call him Danny Pesos, man. He going to bounce back versus Arizona this week, and specifically, he's safe on the ground. You know what I'm saying? Definitely safe on the ground. Got to fuck with him. Shout out to JD, man. Y'all go check out that weekend wrap-up, man, launching soon, man. Who we got? Danny, hey, don't laugh at me. Daniel Jones will be in the top 10 to 11 this week. I talked about Deshaun Watson since E-Rock had me thinking a little more. Let's put 12A, 12B, Deshaun Watson and Jordan Love. Running back rankings. CMC at 1. Barkley at 2. Got Barkley at that 2 spot. Bounce back versus AZ. Barkley going crazy today. Number 3, I got Josh Jacobs. Give him one more game. They playing the Bills. If they going to beat the Bills, it's going to be on the ground. Give me Josh Jacobs. The way Breece Hall was running against them last week, against the Bills, fire up Josh Jacobs. You're playing him anyway, but DFS play, go with Josh Jacobs. He's a top 3 running back this week. Chubb at number 4. Bijan Robinson at 5. I got Derrick Henry at 6. Workhorse. Pollard moves back to 7. Just because of that Jets D. I got Etienne, who could be a top 5 running back this week at all through the season. Stevenson at 9, Gibbs at 10, Damian Pierce at 11, and James Cook is one of my sneaky ones at 12. Volume is key. That Raiders team, they're going to use him. Who we got at wide receiver? Let me see. So wide receiver, we got, let me get my thing. I need to pop up a little bit more. Give me a second, fellas. Needed to pop up on the screen for me. Oh, here we go. Wide receiver rankings. Tyreek Hill, Alpha Dog. St. Brown. Talked about that secondary over there. The Lions playing against. Fire up St. Brown. You playing them no matter what. These are just my rankings. Chase bounce back at 3. Diggs, you know what he going to do. Ridley at number 5. Devontae Adams, don't worry about that injury. He going to play. He always do. Versus the Bills, they're going to need Jacobs and they're going to need Adams, especially with Jacoby Myers being out. Chris Olave at 7. Waddle at 8. I got Debo in there at number 9 over Ayuk. Again, that's strictly because of his effort against the zone. CeeDee Lamb at 10. I was a little weary about having him there just because, again, I don't think they're going to need him versus the Jets. Plus, he got a tough matchup over there. T. Higgins, I talked about since he bouncing back. Fire up T. Higgins in there. He going to bounce back. He's not giving that 0. That's on these players' mind. 0, they went out. Keenan Allen, firing him up, number 12. Tight ends, we got Kelsey. We got Kittle at number 2 this week versus the Rams. We know how much the Niners hate Rams. They play with an edge on their back when they play the Rams because of the history. Mark Andrews at 3. Give me Darren Waller at 4. He was ruled healthy, even though he's dealing with the little hamstring injury. But, again, I got Daniel Jones bouncing back. I told y'all about Sam Laporta. Got him at number 5. Fire up Njoku at 6. Hunter Henry is a play that you might could play him over if you worried about an Andrews play Henry. It's risky, but you got to have a heart to start. Musgrave. Tuck him. I'm telling you, all these rookie tight ends, it's going to be a year with tight end being how it is. These rookies is going to take over, and Musgrave is on a lot of wires. Evan Ingram in the shootout. Number 10, Kyle Pitts. That's a default play. You know, if anything's going to happen in the pass game, it's going to be Pitts. I got Cole Kmet at 11, and I got Dalton Kincaid at 12. There we go. I appreciate you, E-Rock. We got one more question before we sign off because I got to go fuck with my lineups, y'all. It's 30 minutes till kickoff, man. I got some Heart2Starts to play. We got Breece Hall, Kyron, Gabe Davis, and JSN. Go Breece Hall. I'm actually benching Breece Hall versus Jamal Williams in a league, but it's a dynasty league. I don't believe in Kyron, like I said. Gabe Davis is a boomer bust. He could have a great game. He could not. You know what I'm saying? He is going to play. JSN, I need to see it. I believe in him over Lockett long-term for sure, but I still need to see it. But this might be a sneaky game for JSN. But if I'm going safety, I'm going Breece Hall. Hey, but look, man, we appreciate y'all. You know, this was the week 2 quick Heart to start and sit questions. You know, we're gonna stay giving y'all comment. Again, go check on that weekend wrap-up while you watching your football games, while they talk about everything going on in the world, plus some sports. And this is just starting sits, man. Heart to Start Kev signing out, man. Good luck.